BP would say it was the Coast Guard would say it's BP. And it became a joke in our EOC that the Home of Command was the Wizard of Oz, some guy behind a curtain, because we never got a name.
Welcome back to Hardball. That was Billy Nungesser, president of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, testifying at the President's Oil Spill Commission. And his questions may remain unanswered because Senate Republicans have denied the President's commission subpoena power. Here's how it went down.
Is there objection?
On behalf of other members of the Republican conference, I object.
Objection is heard.
This is legislation that passed the House 420 to 1.
Is there objection?
On behalf of other members of the Republican conference, I object.
So who's behind all this besides Jim Domenici? You just saw it with Senator Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire pushed for the President's Commission to get subpoena power. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. I got the tip on this weekend. How in the world can anybody deny the American people's right to find out what happened, what caused that oil spill in the Gulf?
You know, I don't understand it. This was an unprecedented disaster. 11 people lost their lives, uncounted environmental and economic damages to the people of the Gulf region. And we can't do anything about that, but we can make sure it never happens again. And that's why this bipartisan commission that the President has appointed is so important. But what we heard from their co-chairs, former Senator Bob Graham and former Nixon EPA Administrator Bill Riley, is that the witnesses are stonewalling. And because they don't have subpoena power, they can't get the answers they need. And unfortunately, we've requested the Republicans in the Senate to support this request for subpoena power 3 times now. And each time they've objected. I'm going to go back to the floor this evening and request that we go forward with this subpoena power a 4th time. But unfortunately, what we've heard is that they're going to object again.
Well, let me ask you about this. Bob Graham of Florida is one of the most determined, hardworking senators there's ever been. He's got all the faculties intellectually to handle something like this. I've seen him in action on this show and elsewhere. He's certainly the guy to do this, the person to do this. It's bipartisan, as you point out. Do the Republicans ever in the cloakroom or anywhere tell you, do they have any legitimate reason to hold up this investigation?
Well, not that I've heard. In fact, the individual Republican senators that I've talked to about it have said that they support it. This is legislation that passed the House overwhelmingly. 169 Republicans voted for it in the House, and yet the minority keeps objecting in the Senate. I don't understand it. This is something that we all ought to be supporting because it's important for this commission to be able to tell the American people what happened.
You know, I think I know why they don't want to do it, because they'd like the American people to believe that what happened in the Gulf of Mexico was a technical failure, a failure by a machine. What they don't want to admit, it was a management decision. And I happen to know from my brother, who was in the business for 30 years, all mistakes are management mistakes. Technology is tested. When mistakes occur, protocols are put in place to avoid making that mistake again. If they're not followed, that's a management decision, usually based on saving money. Why can't we find out who made that management decision to save money at the huge social and environmental cost we've seen? What do you think about that? That's what I'd like to find out. Who made the management decision to go with seawater, not drilling mud? All kinds of decisions to say go ahead, even though the cement wasn't hard. Each decision was made by a human being. Can't we meet that human being under oath? Well, that's my question.
And that is the question. And that's why we need subpoena power. You know, sadly, the corporations that are involved here, Transocean and BP and Halliburton, are not giving the full answers. And we need to give the American people the real answers. We need to give those families who lost their loved ones and when that station blew up the right answers. And we need to let the businesses of the Gulf region know why they've taken it on the chin for such high economic costs. That's what the subpoena power is all about. It's about making sure that we know what really happened there so that it never happens again.
Okay. Well, it's great having someone on the show, a U.S. Senator, who is doing their job.